What is up, YouTube? Hope you're having a superb day today wherever you are in this world. My name is Ben, and in today's video I'm going to be revealing how much my publishing business has made in the whole of 2021. We're going to be doing this month by month, quarter by quarter, and we're also going to be talking about the costs associated with running a publishing business. That's your ads, your software, your freelancers, and more. So all that in this video. Now, of course, this video is here for insightful, inspirational purposes. I know it fires a lot of you up to see what people are able to achieve from KDP. So I'm just putting my version of numbers out there from what I've been able to do. Of course, if you do enjoy the transparency, if it was helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate if you like this video. And of course, if you want more content like this on self-publishing, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I bring out videos like this one. And of course, if you are new to KDP, then check out my free 2-hour tutorial here on my own YouTube channel. This will help you get started with low content publishing. So go ahead and check that out if you're wanting to start with this method. And of course, without further ado, guys, let's get straight into that video. So we're first going to start by looking at my royalties month by month throughout the whole of 2021. Now, the first quarter of 2021, I was doing monthly income reports, but I stopped doing those when I realized my channel was only income reports and I didn't really have much else to talk about. So I stopped doing them in favor for other content to kind of vary it up a bit. So you'll actually find videos of me breaking down my first 3 months of 2021. But as a summary, this is kind of what it looked like. So as you can see here, from January 2021, we had $6,870. February was $6,338, and March just over $7,000. So my quarter one here was remarkably stable. You'll see that the incomes are fairly stable. There's no spike, there's no real dip. There's a slight dip for February 2021, but you have to bear in mind that there's only 28 days in February compared to 31 in the other 2 months here. So very remarkably stable. Of course, as well, people were still massively in lockdown at this point in time at the start of 2021 due to the virus going around. So hence people might have been ordering more from Amazon than they would be. So if we fast forward to quarter two in 2021, so this is cumulative, you can see the graph starting to expand here, and starting April things started to go downhill a little bit for me. This is because of one niche, one of my top niches, reducing in sales as the lockdown started to end in some countries. So in the UK, for example, people started coming out of lockdown around about this time. So I noticed a drop in sales with my publishing business, particularly in this one niche that I had. So my April, May, and June, they were all again remarkably similar to each other at the 5,000 to 5,500 range here. But again, like you see, no spikes as such, not very many seasonal niches picking off for me. Of course, if we then fast forward to quarter 3 2021, you'll see the same picture here for the next 3 months, and it's actually very remarkably stable. Obviously, ideally, we want this graph to be going up as I have been publishing more books throughout the year. But what has actually happened is as my new books have been starting to sell, that first huge niche that I had that I was talking about for the quarter one was still dwindling off as we went down here. So the two effects were countering: less sales from my huge niche, so the graph would have been going like this for that. But then of course I was publishing new books as well. So what you see here is a very remarkably stable line. And of course this reflects on how I do my publishing business mostly as well. And the fact that it's so stable means that I put more emphasis on my evergreen niches than I do with the seasonal niches. I do seasonal niches, and they're hit and miss. Some of them do create sales. Like you see in August, there was a seasonal niche here that picked up a few $100s worth of sales, hence that small spike there. But very generally speaking, I tend to focus on evergreen niches, as is evident by this very stable line here. So going now onto quarter four and kind of going back on what I say about focusing on evergreen, you see October, November, December just absolutely blow the royalties out of the water. So November 2021 was a very good month for me, 9,100, slightly less than November 2020. But then December 2021 was $15,000. So that's almost $3,000 more than December 2020, which I'm really, really happy with. And of course, this is from a combination of both seasonal and evergreen niches. My evergreen niches just naturally pick up in sales over that Christmas period, but I do have some seasonal niches, and when I do seasonal niches, the ones that I tend to focus on are Christmas, because they are the most fruitful for me compared to, say, Valentine's or Easter's. So that is the comment that I'll make about seasonal niches. I do focus on the Christmas because it's just so fruitful, as you can see here. But otherwise, throughout the rest of the year, I do mostly focus on evergreen, and I think you can really tell, especially with this flat line here. So that brings me on to my total royalty for 2021, and of course we're going to need a drum roll for this one. 2021 total royalty, $81,875. So that is the royalty that this business has earned. And of course, that isn't all profit. I will break down how much I have spent to generate this $81,000. And we're going to be starting off with the ads. But before we do, just a quick detail on this month, December 2021. That's what it looked like for those that are interested. We achieved $15,180. And of course, my record day, the highest earning day that I've made so far on my KDP account, is this day, December the 15th, 2021, which was $1,072. The peak for me in 2021 was a lot later than 2020. In 2020, December, my highest day was around the 6th of December. So the peak of the sales really came later this year than it did last year. And I think quite a few of you have been noticing that as well, as your sales didn't really pick up until the end of November, as opposed to 2020 when it was a lot sooner. So now, having said all that, we're going to be moving on to how much I spent in total on advertising for my publishing business. So we're going to be breaking it down by marketplace. And the first one, of course, is going to be the USA. So here's my USA spend. I'm going to move my face here actually so you can see the full picture. But essentially in USA 2021, we spent $6,760. I couldn't filter this graph to show you just last year. So this is the total all-time graph here, and I just put it there for completeness so you can see what the kind of ACOS is that I've been receiving and the kind of trends in spend and ACOS down here as well. So of course the 2021 period starts here and ends there, so you can see that we had a big spike in December, of course, but also a very downwards trend in ad spend from the start of January and March time all the way to October. So October was my lowest month for ad spend in the USA. So having bared that in mind, we're going to breeze past the other ones. Canada 2021 with a decent amount of ad spend there. Again, the highest amount of spend was in November and December period, and more of an uptrend this time from January to October. The UK, we spent £4,263. Again, the highest amount of spend in the December period. And also the ACOS in the UK has been on an uptrend. It's been a difficult one, the UK. I think as more people are discovering it, it's getting more and more competitive to advertise, hence the uptrend in ACOS, but we still got a respectable all-time ACOS there. So Australia 2021, we had just over $1,000, Australian dollars that is. Oh, that's the wrong graph. So we'll just get Germany 2021, 1,766 euros. And we got a funky looking graph here. The spend actually went down for Christmas because I had to turn off a few ads that were underperforming. And of course, Italy, Spain, France, they're kind of negligible marketplaces for me to advertise in. So I've just grouped them all here for simplicity. And between them, I spent 523 euros. So that brings my total ad spend in 2021 to $18,629. So the profit after ads is $63,246. Now, of course, with an ad spend of around $18,000, that means that between 20 to 25% of my royalties has been spent on ads. So that is just a cost of doing business, and that's something I can't avoid. So that is the profit after ads. Of course, that isn't a complete profit. There's other costs as well in doing business. And if you've been following my channel, you know what they are. But if you haven't, these come down to two general things, and that is down to freelancers and software. So freelancers, of course, are the people who create the covers and interiors for my books so that I can upload them straight onto Amazon. So a lot of the work that I used to do is now outsourced, and for that I'm paying the freelancers $13,000 in total for the year of 2021. Now, the other expenditure comes from software. So software generally helps make aspects of my publishing business easier, or it will help make it more profitable. So for example, Helium 10 is a great niche research and keyword research tool. It gives me all the keywords that I ever need, the search volumes for them, so I can make informed decisions about what book to make next. And of course, it helps me with advertising, all the way to things like Creative Fabrica, which give me a whole load of interiors to use for publishing, as well as ideas for upcoming niches to publish into as well. So between all the software that I use, so that's a whole, that comes to $3,000. Of course, you can see a fuller list of the software that I use down in the description below. So Creative Fabrica, Canva, BookBolt, Helium 10. We've also got Tangent templates that I use. We've also got BookReports that I use. We've also got Adobe Creative Cloud that I use for Photoshop and Illustrator, amongst a few other things as well. So all of that comes to roughly $3,000 in the year of 2021. So having added those two costs up, the final profit after all these costs now comes to $47,000. So what we're retaining is just over 50% of the royalty that you see on the screen. Originally at $81,000, profit is now $47,000. So some interesting stats for you guys as well from the year 2021 that may help you visualize how I run my business a little bit better. This first one here is the earnings by author. So this pie chart here shows a couple of segments. Each segment represents how much each pen name has made. And of course, in my business, I group the pen name by niche. So for every different niche that I publish in, I use a different pen name. So each segment basically represents a niche with a few exceptions, which I will tell you about. So this biggest segment here is one niche, and my second biggest niche is this one here. With this segment here, this is actually the same niche as this one. So if you can imagine this segment here being all in one, and then this light blue segment is the same niche as this one here. So again, these two are part of the same niche, these two are part of the same niche, and this is my Christmas niche that did well over December 2021. So I guess what I'm saying is just three broad niches. So this Christmas one, niche 1 here, and then niche 2 here, with these two segments here, the light blue and the light green one. Just these three broad niches delivered me 82% of my royalty, as shown by the 5 largest segments of the wheels. So this light green one all the way to this dark orange one here. So what I guess I'm trying to say from this is find a broad niche and publish all different types of books within that niche. Now, ideally, you want to find the niche that you're interested in, because that's what you're going to enjoy the most, and that's what's worked for me. One of the niches for me was easy to publish in, and it was very scalable, so I managed to make a lot of books in there, and that's why it's got such a large segment. But then the second niche, this one here, is one that I really enjoy making. So I was making all types of books. So that could be activity books, that could be notebooks, coloring books, quiz books, you name it, all different types of books within this niche. I was experimenting with books that have not yet been made on Amazon within this niche just because I enjoyed it so much. So making the books didn't feel like much work for me. And as a result, we've done really, really well within that niche, as shown by this huge segment here. Another interesting fact is the earnings by book. As you can see again with the same pie chart, this shows us the amount of royalties earned by book in 2021. And as you can see, just 15 books gave me over half my total royalty in 2021. So if you count the first largest 15 segments, goes all the way down here to this light green one, and that is over half of the pie chart. And bearing in mind that I have over 2,000 books, this is quite remarkable. And again, what I'm trying to say here is that this is just the Pareto principle in action. Essentially, 20% of your work will generate 80% of your profits. So if you're not seeing the results that you want, just remember to keep on going and let the Pareto principle work its magic, because most people's businesses, publishing businesses, will have something to this effect where most of their books will not sell as they want, but then just a few of the books will make up the majority of the royalties as shown here. So keep on going if you haven't seen the results that you've got. And of course, I'll give you a summary as well of the way I operate my business and all the way I've operated it in 2021. So essentially, for the type of book, I've been mainly focusing on coloring books, activities, and quiz books. The reason being is that they are the most scalable. With quiz books, I do enjoy making them, so I make them myself. But with the activity and coloring books, this is all outsourced, and I found a niche where I can keep publishing different sub niches within that niche, and they seem to be selling really, really well. So that's how I've been able to scale activity and coloring books, and that's what we keep on doing because that's what's working for me. We've worked on average less hours than we did in 2020. So in 2020, I was definitely more full-time with my business. I was working at least 8 hours a day, to build up to my business to where it was at the end of 2020, which was very good. But now in 2021, as time progressed throughout the year, I kind of went less full-time with my business as I outsourced more and more of the work, just to free up my time to continue learning about other ways to make money online, for example, to start building other businesses that I've always wanted to do. So in terms of the hours I've been putting into my publishing business in 2021, it has been less than in 2020. Of course, I still spend quite a bit of time doing the advertising and doing the niche research. But of course, now my freelancers, I'm doing all the work for my books. I don't spend so much time doing that anymore. And of course, I have more emphasis on evergreen and seasonal niches. So this is what I was saying before, that my income was extremely stable because, I have more success with my evergreen books. So that's what I've been focusing on more so than the seasonal books. I do have one exception, and that's through Christmas, where I found a really good seasonal niche within Christmas, and hence why the sales have been so good over Christmas. But otherwise, throughout the rest of the year, although I do make a couple of seasonal niches, I do tend to focus more on evergreen. And obviously the reason for this is because I like to build up the niche that I'm already doing really well, and I just want to put more and more books into this niche, build up a brand in the process so people start recognizing my pen name within this niche and will start to come to my other books when I publish them as well. And that kind of ties into why I have the website, the email list, etc. But that's what I value more than hopping on to seasonal niches in the long run. So that is the reason for that. So now I'm going to talk about other streams of income that I've received in 2021. Now, some of you might not find this interesting, but some of you might, so I thought I would include it for completeness within this video. But essentially, outside my publishing business, there's income streams that I make. Obviously, there's YouTube because I have this YouTube channel and I do have AdSense activated, so I get YouTube AdSense revenue. I also have affiliates that I have in the links below that make me money, and of course my investments as well. And I'm not going to really talk about this last one too much because it's not really an income, it's more of I've closed the position for a profit. And of course, it's a topic for another video. So if you do want to know, most of my investments are into the stocks and cryptocurrencies. And I also think it's nice, to remind the viewer that it's always good to save up a little bit of money, at least from your KDP royalties, to invest into stuff that you want to invest, rather than buying luxuries such as Gucci clothes or watches if you are doing that. But I will talk about the other two, YouTube and affiliates. So with YouTube, the amount that I earned from YouTube AdSense in 2021 comes to a grand total of $6,630.60. I only got started getting monetized, you can see here, in the start of March. And from there, my income has fluctuated. It started off at between $2 to $4 a day, all the way to highs of over $60 a day in October and also in June. And it's also gone down to lows of around the $10 mark in December and July. So it does fluctuate quite a bit. Obviously, if you're more consistent than I am, as you can see with the play buttons here, then you might get a more stable income from YouTube AdSense. But I'm not very consistent on YouTube, I'll admit. These other two figures here represent how much advertisers are willing to pay per 1,000 views to get their ads in front of my videos. So you can see here, advertisers are willing to pay $60 per 1,000 views to place their ads on my videos. And of course, YouTube takes their cut. So what I get to keep is this figure here, the RPM, and that's at $23.40. In the grand scheme of everything YouTube, all the different types of topics of videos, this kind of content gets a fairly high CPM just because it's business related. So this generally gets higher CPM than niches such as, prank videos, which might get a much lower CPM than this type of videos. So prank channels, for example, might get a lot more views than my videos, but because they've got a much lower CPM, they might not make as much as you think based on what you're seeing here. So on a monthly estimated revenue basis, you can see this was my last 6 months. October was my best month to date with $1,145 just from YouTube AdSense. So that's pretty cool. So just a little bit of background about my YouTube, and to put a little context to the numbers that you see, I started my YouTube in April 2020 and I published quite a few videos. I think I must have published at least 30 before I got monetized, and that was 11 months after I started. So obviously to monetize you need 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 watch hours in a year. Of course, the hardest part is at the start when you're starting to make videos, but then the YouTube algorithm works its magic, and then you start to get more and more views on every upload that you make. So it's kind of like a snowball effect. So once you are monetized, the income does come in daily from AdSense. When I started out with YouTube, like I say, I got a few dollars a day, up to a peak of over $60 a day. So in the same way that KDP is scalable, YouTube is also scalable in that sense. So on that point as well, what kind of attracted me to YouTube from a business standpoint was the fact that it is actually a very similar model to KDP, in the sense that it doesn't take any money to start a YouTube channel. You've literally got your laptop. All you need to do is speak into, like, if you have a laptop as you would do for KDP, then you can also start a YouTube channel and start making videos. Of course, it's very similar as well when you do niche research on KDP and when you do niche research on YouTube. People are going to be searching videos on YouTube through the search bar in the same way that people search for your books on Amazon. So obviously you do need to make videos that are in demand and that have not as much competition as other niches. So there is an element of niche research to YouTube as there is with KDP. And of course it's scalable in the same way that KDP is. So of course you publish one video and it makes you revenue forever, just like you publish one book on KDP and it makes you royalties forever. So it's scalable in the same way that KDP is. So that's kind of what attracted me to me from a business standpoint, of course. And of course, from a more human standpoint as well, YouTube was the obvious avenue for me, to put out content to help people. Of course, I wouldn't be here where I am today without YouTube, because when I started my KDP journey, I turned to YouTube to find out how to do certain things. So, this was the obvious way to give back in that sense. And of course, it's helped me, develop some soft skills as well, like my speaking skills, my editing, video creation skills. So all that put together made YouTube a really attractive place for me to start a second stream of income. And so with the YouTube revenue added, that's what my total is so far, 53,876. And now we go on to affiliates. So affiliates is another popular way for people to monetize their YouTube channel. It's essentially that link that you see in the description below. So a popular example might be Amazon affiliates. So if you go onto anyone's YouTube channel and say they're talking about a book that they love to read, they might leave an affiliate link for it in the description below. And if you click on that link, it might take you to the Amazon page for that book. And should you buy that book, that YouTuber will get a small commission. Now, this is a pretty cool way for monetization, especially if you have your YouTube channel, because in the context of KDP, I was always using KDM10, for example, to do my niche research, my advertising. And when I found out that they had the affiliate program, then it was pretty much a no-brainer, because I could advocate for their software anyway, and now they're giving me a financial incentive to do so. So all the companies you see below are the ones that I personally endorse for the purposes of my business, and of course that's why they're linked down below. So that is affiliates for you. It's fairly simple one to do. It's not rocket science. And between all the companies that I promote in my YouTube videos, including the Residual Royalty Academy course, this year I've made around, 2021, I've made around $8,000 in affiliate commission. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. And between KDP, YouTube, and affiliates, that comes to $61,876. So that is the grand total across the different income sources that I have. And yeah, that's pretty much this whole video in a nutshell. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, insightful or inspirational, or both. If you did enjoy it and if you haven't liked it or subscribed yet, then make sure you do both of those. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Take care.